Israel Hour Radio. For months now, we have been sharing and discussing the music of October 7th, the incredible songs that have come out of terrible tragedy, and the emotions that we've all been feeling when we listen to this very, very powerful music. Well, there's a whole other side that I just discovered not too long ago, and I'm so glad. First of all, I'm thankful to our listener Debbie, who introduced me to the this project of Gilad Segev. It's called the Heroes Project, which has totally brought a whole beautiful other side to this kind of music, and I think you're going to enjoy is not the best word, but totally be inspired by some of the music we're going to be sharing today. And Gilad Segev is my special guest now. Gilad, thank you so much for joining me today on Israel Hour Radio.
Thank
We're
you.
recording this during Pesach, so Chag Sameach to you.
Chag Sameach. Thank you very much for having me.
So, for those, before we get into this project, for those of our listeners who don't know Gilad Segev, tell us about your musical journey and your story before this project.
Uh, Thank you. My career in Israel began exactly 20 years ago, when I released my first song, which was dedicated to my brother that lost his life in his army service. And the song was called Achshav Tov, Now It's Good. And I was very fortunate that the song became like the most played song of the year on Israeli radio. So I had a very nice way to enter Israeli music world. Later on, I had many songs released, wrote to other people, had many number one hits in Israel, established myself here. And later, I started my international career under the nickname Passerby, in which I travel all over the world and try to connect people through music, tell musical stories from all over the world. So for me, it was like connecting to the roots, connecting to myself, and then going and trying to echo the sounds that I found that reflect our identity, and then get influenced by others. So for me, this was the path that defined my way for the past 20 years.
Now, I know you for your Israeli music, but I know when I looked more about your career, this Passerby project is a huge deal, and you have many fans in China and around the world. Tell me about the kinds of things you've been doing outside of Israel.
You know, what got me flying all over the world at the beginning was the Jewish prayers. I
Wow.
performed with Jewish prayers all over the world, and it was amazing that people that you would expect that would like things that sound like hits, they were much more attached to our prayers. And it got me into a dialogue with people from either musicians from Cuba and Japan and China and Malawi, Africa. And this kind of dialogue uh, evolved into creating songs together, in which they sing in their language and play their instruments, and I kind of wrap it up in a folk song in English. And this thing that started with creating songs developed into really a big thing, because it's like it didn't end up with songs. It continued to videos, and now we filmed the Passerby TV series, and we have the Passerby book. And the idea is that I find people that I call passerby heroes, that have amazing stories of overcoming difficulties through music. And then, we go to Mongolia, and we go to very remote places, and we connect through music. And I found out that it's so inspiring. And because, it kind of evolved. And as you said, it's a big surprise, but also in the east side of the world, we have millions of followers. Now we are aiming later for the US. But of course, everything stopped and came to an halt once 7th of October happened, which made me recalculate my not really calculate. I couldn't do it anymore. I had to do something for the situation. It was weird for me to be passerby at that moment, and that's how Project Heroes came about.
Wow. Well, it sounds like you've been dealing with heroes for a long time, and so this is no stretch for you. But before we get into Project Heroes,
Please.
everybody has every Israeli, and I would say anyone who's connected to Israel has an October 7th story. What is yours?
Yes.
Where were you, and what was that day like for you?
So, my story was that I was at the most remote place I've ever been in my life, which is in the west side of Mongolia, which it took me like 4 days to come back. And I kind of saw the news on the internet, and I called my wife and said, be aware. And I was so remote, we were so sad. We were like all of the people in Israel. We were and the Jewish people and many people in the world. We were very much shocked from the atrocities. But at the same time, also from the first day of the 7th of October, I was also in another shock. I was shocked from the heroism acts that I encountered. And from that day, I started to read about from the 7th to read about the amazing heroic things that happened, and that triggered me to start writing spontaneous texts on Facebook and just post them. So that was my 7th of October, starting to write text for the heroes from the most far side of Mongolia.
So this Heroes project, it sounds like it just started with you just expressing your thoughts, I guess, in poetry. Did you know that these would turn into, I guess, as a songwriter, anything can turn into a song?
The question is so true to ask, because this was something that was really not planned at all. Like, what I did is that I kind of expressed myself through the internet, and then what happened, it became really viral. It had tens of thousands of shares. And what I understood was that from the comments were in many different languages. So I understood that the people really resonates with them, the heroic stories. And I continued, and I also understood another thing, that my uh, beginning was with the song I wrote about my brother, which gave a lot to my family. It really created a heritage around my brother, my hero, as a hero himself. And I wanted to give, everybody in Israel made his part. So my part was, I couldn't run in Gaza because they wouldn't take me. So my part was to try and write and possibly give the families something that I once gave to my family. And I understood from that moment that everything I did so far is now pushed aside. And my role now is to write those texts. And I wrote every day for someone else. Now, as you said, people asked me, hey, you also write music, right? So maybe do you like the music to the songs? And I joined with my musical producer named Gilad Shmueli, and we kind of started to produce the songs and compose them. And one thing led to another, and we started to do the videos, and then it became really like bigger and bigger and bigger, with people that follow and really like get excited. Now, very important to say, everything was with the families. I didn't do anything, without the families. The moment I had a song, I sent it to the family. They confirmed it, either corrected it, either changed it, and then I did it. And that goes for every element of the project. The song, the composing, the video, they supply the materials. Everything is done together with the families of the heroes.
Wow. Okay. And so the Heroes Project was born with you producing and writing songs to honor these people who created, who were involved in these heroic acts on October 7th. How did you find these stories? I know there have been so many that have come out. How did they get to you?
At the beginning, I was like just like everybody else. And by the way, you know, I really mean when I said shocked, I was shocked. Why? Because I was shocked from two things regarding those heroic acts. I was shocked from the quantity. So many heroic acts, so many. You can't throw a stone without hitting a story. So it was like all over the place. You go, you talk to your to the brother of your wife, you hear an heroic story, you talk to everyone. So that was one. The second thing that shocked me was the character of the heroism, which was about sacrifice, which is about jumping on live grenades, which was like, it in a way, it kind of was like a microcosm for the Jewish heroism of all time. And I found like someone that was just as hero as David HaMelech, and I found King David, and I found all those stories connected to the Jewish heroism of all time, and I understood that there is something very specific, very different about Jewish heroism that separates it from other heroism. I'm not saying that people that are not Jewish are not part of this heroism, but there is a very typical, special heroism, which is the best side of humanity. And that's why this thing developed into Project Heroes is the Jewish heroism experience for humanity. It starts with the program for the 7th of October, but we understood it's a much greater idea. So regarding your question, the stories were I read the stories like everyone else, and that's what it made me feel. But later when it started to be released, the families started to approach and ask for songs as well. So we expanded it all the time. And now we will also have the Project Heroes book, in which we have almost 40 songs, not all of them composed, but for the families and together with them.
All right, now wait a second. So you said something that was fascinating to me, and that is that the you've been covering and writing and singing about heroic stories for many years. So what is it that makes Jewish heroism, the October 7th heroism, different from things you might find around the world? What makes Jewish heroes
Listen,
different?
you know what? First of all, I started by really getting into what is a hero. There is a difference between a hero and bravery. Heroism is about putting everything out there, risking everything. Bravery, you need to, or courage, some people need courage to get out of bed. And I admire them for that. I'm just saying that heroism is a different thing. Now, in Hollywood, you have a lot of heroes that, go into a room and blast everyone. And then you say, oh, look at him, he's an action hero, right? But this is not the Jewish heroism. The Jewish heroism is all about resilience, is all about helping one another. It's not about conquering, it's about making people free. It's about overcoming things by excelling, not by, for example, the people on the other side now that are just, complaining and say, Jewish people don't waste time. They just excel. They invent. The Jewish heroism is different. It's overcoming thing in a different way. And we had to, out of survival. But what came out of us was not like getting into a room and shooting everyone in the room. It's something very, very different. And every song in the album reflects one element from the Jewish special heroism. For example, Liron Barda, that came in, that arrived to the Nova party as a worker and found herself with the possibility to run away, but stayed to save the life of strangers. So she's the one who stayed with her friends. And we have Jonathan Elazari, that was in Ofakim. He was in a very secure place once the shots were heard. He went out with his bare hands, found stones, and fought the terrorists like David HaMelech, like King David. and then found a weapon and saved many people. And you have Ben Shimoni that came that saved people, returned to hell, saved more people, returned to hell, saved more people. So we have like these people that, I'm not afraid to say it. They are the best people humanity ever produced. And I'll tell you why I think that, why I feel this way. Because they arrived to the Nova Party, to celebrate love, to celebrate peace, the most peaceful people on earth. And you have also the people from the kibbutzes that were also for peace. But when things happened, they all became like the ultimate fighters, sacrificing their lives for their brothers and sisters. And then you see all the people of Israel join together. And although the big surprise, like winning everything. So I'm just saying that the people here, they have both sides. It's also the both sides of the fighter and of the musical peace loving people, music, and it's in the same people. If we had the chance, we would never attack anyone. We would lay our weapons. But we have to face the reality. And when we face the reality, we become the most heroic heroes that don't want to kill anyone. And this is like a very special heroes. Now the thing is, and it's very important for me to say, Josh, that for some reason, our Jewish people, us and the Israeli people, don't understand we are heroes. We don't understand it. That we don't have heroes. We are heroes. We are people of heroes. And what Project Heroes is all about is changing the narrative of the perception, first of all, of us, of ourselves, and later on to project it to the rest of the world. We tend to tell our stories from victimhood, stories, what they did to us here, what they did to us there. And we have so many heroes. We need to start to tell our history to ourselves selves from the narrative of heroism. And the 7th of October was a reflection, and what I saw there was a very, very, very powerful thing. And no one can really, undermine it because I saw it with my own eyes. So I understand when I go and think about my mother as a Holocaust survivor and her sister that saved her, my brother we mentioned, my father as a general. We are surrounded by heroes, all of us, and I'm sure your family as well, and our listeners as well. We are surrounded by heroes, but for some reason, we take it for granted. And we need to see ourselves for what we are, because even if it's modesty, look where we are at. The pure good was standing in front of the pure evil. And most of the world is now cheering for the pure evil.
Hmm?
And in this situation, we need to change the story that we tell to ourselves.
You mentioned a few of the stories, and as of the time that we're recording this, there are 4 videos out so far, and you told me that there will be 10 altogether at this in this stage, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
10 songs and 10 videos. It's like a musical visual project. I had the honor to direct also the videos, so it's like a whole way to express everything. And also the materials themselves, I will give example, Neta Epstein that jumped on a grenade to save his fiance. We had the honor that she took part in the video and also wore the dress when we filmed in their home in Kfar Gaza. So I'm just saying that, it's like once someone told me, he told me it's sad stories. It's like sad, and I told him, listen, all of them are love songs. It's all love songs.
Mm.
The people that did what they did, it was out of love. So I see it as a love album, not a tragic album. And I
Wow.
see it like as heroes for me are people that became light. They changed their form, and they they are the heroism act never ends until we stop talking about it. It didn't end when they saved the life. you know that they checked and they understood why do you have heroes in all the cultures and songs about them. They understood that heroism has heroes have a way to help people heal from trauma. The stories help you heal from trauma. So heroes can save us again and again and again and again.
Wow.
And our job, Josh, our job and the job of everyone that listens to us is just to echo the stories. As they echo the stories, the heroes live on, and you can save lives just by echoing those stories. And this is what we do. This is why we are going to arrive to New York to perform on 9th of May. This is why we're going to reach LA on the 13th of May and later to Canada. Our goal is to echo and also to have people, I'm just one person. So many people today, the social media is built for people to share, to echo. The people that listen to us now have a lot of power to help the heroes not die for nothing, continue their stories, inspire, save people by sharing the stories through songs and videos and documentary and everything.
Wow. You've mentioned to me off the air that there were some of the, you're going to be doing a few songs in English. Tell me about those.
Right. Listen, English is part of my work for years now, and I see now that it's a very uniting moment for the Israeli people and the Jewish people in the diaspora that speak English mostly. So I thought that the project should be bilingual, and I think that three songs are in English. In the concert, we will speak in English in between the songs when we perform in the US. So once someone that arrives, he doesn't need to speak Hebrew, and everything, by the way, in Hebrew has big subtitles. So three songs are in English, and also the whole project is Hebrew English. If you're an English speaker, you will understand everything because I want us to connect together. This tragic 7th of October is a huge opportunity for the Jewish people, a huge opportunity for the Jewish and Israeli people to redefine themselves to themselves.
We're speaking with a singer, songwriter, and I would say a hero himself, Gilad Segev. We
I'm not.
are there any other stories that you want to highlight in this project? Any other stories that really jumped out at you as something very unique and very special?
You know, it's so hard to choose because I want to tell about them all. It's like everyone is like it's like infinite inspiration, infinite inspiration. I can talk about Aner Shapira, that he was in the party and suddenly he found himself in this situation, and he was in a shelter together with 30 people, and they threw a grenade in. So he stood and he threw it back, and he told everyone, "I'm Aner Shapira. Please be relaxed. I'm a soldier in the army, in the commando, and I will throw out the grenades, and if something happens to me, replace me." And they threw 7 grenades, and he threw all of them out there,
I've
stood
seen this
like that,
video.
and then on the eighth one he didn't make it. But what I think is, we talk about the Bible and we reread the Torah, and I think that the Bible is still continuing to be written. It didn't end, and those stories are biblical stories. These are biblical heroes that lived among us and still live among us. And our history is being written, but it's also being written, to say the truth, by us. And as we write our history, we need to choose on what side are we looking at. When I wrote the song about my brother, it's called Achshav Tov, and it says, "No, it will be good in the future." It says, "Now it's good," meaning I decide it's good now as a decision. as the way I look at things. I'm not saying they look lovely. I'm not saying it's not the most hardest thing to challenge, but we need to choose the narrative because our other option is to drown with stories, atrocities that we can't comprehend, and we will never be able to do it. We talked about the Israeli people and giving them a narrative, but I'm reading so much and being in contact with the campus students in the US, in North America, which is such a crazy, crazy thing. And you know what I think, and I discovered through my dialogues with them, the heroism narrative gives them a lot of tools to handle the situation. Because even if you are someone that have someone that you even appreciate or don't appreciate, that tells you you're a conqueror, you're a killer, you're everything bad that they say about from anti-Semitic or ignorant way, it can shake you up. But once you know who you are, once you know you haven't done anything wrong, and we haven't done anything wrong, we're just surviving. We need to stop apologizing for us being us. We need to embrace ourselves. And it's not enough to say we are smart and we are all the things that they tell about us, that we need to add to it that we are people of heroes. And that I would never change my mind. Jewish and Israeli people are heroes, the most heroic people, and I've traveled all over the world, the most heroic people on earth.
Well, Gilad, I love your thoughts. I love your reaction, your take on the situation, and your inspiring words about how we can move forward. They're so important, and I'm really really glad that you are going out on tour, especially in North America, to share these words and these feelings and these stories, and you just have such a wonderful take on this entire situation. Gilad Segev with the Heroes
Thank you
Project
so
is going to
much.
be in New York on May 9th, Palo Alto on May 12th, Los Angeles May 13th, Montreal May 22nd, and Ottawa, Canada. Montreal is also Canada, but Ottawa on May 23rd. For information, we'll have it all on our website, myisraelimusic.com. You can also go to teevtix.com. That's TEEVTIX.com. Tell us a little bit more about what these evenings will look like.
First of all, I want to mention that I haven't mentioned it before. It's all a non-profit. All the income is going that will arrive from the distribution is going towards the families and the people that got hurt, and also to continue the heroism uh, memory. And regarding what's going to happen there, you know, we're going to sing the songs, we're going to show the videos, we're going to tell the stories, and we're going to connect it to all kinds of stories and music from the past. We're going to connect the Jewish heroism experience of all time. And I think that, as mentioned before, this is a very uniting moment for us. And I think that we don't want this event to become a very sad event because, as we said, there is darkness and there is light, and it's all about light. It's going to be sad, but it's also going to be very hopeful. And, it's going to be not only music, it's going to be a visual experience. It's going to be something that is very, very, very immersive experience. So I'm just saying that I believe that the people that will arrive, and I already know that many people want to arrive. It's like I think we're going to feel together, and I think we're going to honor our brothers and sisters, the heroes, and also get their light inside us, so we can forward the sun to the places it doesn't reach. And I believe that I can't wait to meet everyone. And we also have invited students that now have to face like a terrible reality to be our guests. And it's gonna be, I think, a very, very interesting experience because the timing is very special.
Wow. I'm for once, I'm jealous that I'm here in Israel and not in the States. Are you doing these shows in Israel also?
Yeah, we have several applies to do it. By the way, we got also applies to do the Heroes Project in very like surprising countries, you know, from Europe and from China and from many places, but surely we'll do it in Israel. The thing is that we felt that, you know, we felt that our brothers and sisters in the diaspora needs us now.
Right.
They need to hear what we have to say, and to be more specific, what the heroes have to say, because I believe that it's not about, you know, just feeling sad with the tragedies. It's really about seeing what happened there that got so much hope into us, so much hope. And by the way, Jewish heroism is not a genetic club. It's a perception. It's a perception that people can join to. They don't need to be Jewish to be Jewish heroes. In the project, we have a Bedouin, we have a Druzi, we have many peoples that are Israeli heroes that are not Jewish, but they are Jewish heroes because they were loyal to the essence that they learned from the Jewish heroism about saving others, about how you see one another. So I'm saying that, you know, we have something that was under our nose for our whole lives. And once it got into this showdown, and most of the world is cheering for the wrong side, we can tell the story. And I'll tell you something that we have on our side. You know what it is? Time. The world that is now cheering for people that are terrorists, that are, you know, unequal, everything that is different than the Jewish heroism, people will understand with time. And what we need to do is tell the truth consistently, tell the truth, tell the truth. And then people say, oh, right, right. When we'll finish our thing, the world that is resonates with a Jewish person would be a hero. It would take years, but it will happen.
Wow. Wow. And I would say a great place to start would be to take these videos that Gilad Segev has made, spotlighting these stories, share it with your network, share it on social media, share these heroic stories that show what we Jews have gone through, what Israelis have gone through, and the heroism and bravery that these songs bring out. I think it's an amazing way to spread the kind of positivity that we want the rest of the world to hear during these difficult times.
Thank you. And we need you at the concert. Come to the concert because we want you to be there to get the experience, feel your heart, and then you will have even more power to spread the word.
That's right. Very good. Gilad, I so admire what you've been doing. And I know you are so very much involved in this project. Where do you go from here after these concerts in May? What's your next move? Do you know?
Look, the thing is that, you know, I called it like the Jewish heroism experience for humanity. And, you know, I like it because it shows me I'm not getting lost when I read this line. Why? Because an experience has many ways you can have many kind of experiences. We talk now about concerts. We later talk about exhibitions. We talk about going all over. We're talking about educational plans. I want people to have the experience of the Jewish heroism, not only being like reading about the Red Sea and Moses, being Moses in the Red Sea. I want educational experiences. And as I see it, you know, we have the 7th of October 1 year commemoration, and we're going to surely tour then. But most of all, I want to connect it to the Jewish heroes of all time, and later on to create the experience in our world that is AI and most technologically developed content experiences, hopefully together with the donors that already joined Project Heroes and will join Project Heroes. So, but most importantly, that these tours will create the army of heroes of our people that will join us and help us to change the narrative. We need to change the narrative, and there are many ways to change the narrative. And each of us have a part, and I'm just doing my small part, hopefully, for people to continue and join Project Heroes.
Wow. So it sounds like this is the beginning of something really big and really extensive and really, really important. Kol hakavod, and we're so proud of the work that you're doing and the positivity that you're spreading around the world. It is really inspirational and really beautiful.
And I would add another thing that, we leave politics out. Music and storytelling are the universal languages. This is why we chose music and storytelling. This is why we chose those stories of those people. And I don't mean to argue with any pro-Palestinian person. I'm not arguing with anyone. I'm not wasting my energy with someone that will never understand, right? What I'm saying to everyone is, hi, I have a story to tell you. If you want to listen to it, you listen to it. If not, but I'm not arguing with you. And you will one day understand. I'm just telling the story. And if people want to hear, they hear. We bypass, and I'm telling it also to our listeners, don't waste all of your energy on arguing with people that would never change their mind. Just tell the story, spread the light, and it will come back.
I
That's
love
all.
it, Gilad. Gilad, thank you so much. Gilad Segev, the Heroes Project, coming to a city
So much.
near you. And if not, then go spread these stories, watch these videos. By the time this interview is aired, I think there will be 10 of them out there. And each one that I've seen so far has been nothing short of an inspiration. Kol hakavod,
Much.
toda rabba, Gilad Segev,
Arba.
and continue the wonderful work that you're doing. And thank you so much for joining us.
Josh, thank you so much. It's a great honor for me. Thank you.